Hey guys, Nike here, and this is a video I've had on my mind to do for a while, and I finally got spurred to get off my ass and make it when I started watching people doing some Zwift and TrainerRoad workouts, and the bottom line is those programs' intervals suck. Before I explain what I mean by that, let me go into my training philosophy kind of briefly, although it probably won't be that brief. There are, in my opinion, really only two things that matter: total time in zone and length of the interval. Total time in zone is how many minutes per workout in total you spend in the zone that you're trying to target. It sounds basic, but if you want a training adaptation, you need to spend enough time in the targeted zone to get an adaptation. What that number is depends on the zone you're training. Obviously, training VO2 max, you're going to spend fewer minutes in the zone than if you were training zone 2. A hard VO2 workout might spend 24 minutes at VO2 in an hour and needs minimally 12 minutes to be effective. Whereas, for example, a sweet spot interval, you could spend 60 minutes at sweet spot in a 90-minute workout, and minimally you need 40 minutes to generate an adaptation. Too few minutes in zone, you won't get an adaptation. Too many minutes in zone, assuming you can actually finish the sets, means your zones aren't calibrated correctly, and you probably need to do an FTP test. The second thing is the length of interval. You cannot generate a training adaptation doing FTP intervals that are 3 minutes in length. I've watched people do 3-minute FTP, 2-minute rest intervals repeated for an hour. And this isn't doing anything for them besides raising their TSS. At no point in this workout will they be stressing their threshold limits, because the benefits of training at FTP comes from doing minimally 15-minute reps where your aerobic system is actually hitting the limits by the end of the rep. Doing 3 minutes at FTP and resting will generate no response because you are resting and clearing your lactate and getting your oxygen levels back up before you ever start stressing those systems. For VO2 max, I see far too many people doing 40-20s or 30-30s. Those should not be done targeting the VO2 max zone because they are far too short of a duration, even if the total time in zone adds up to a good number. You want to ideally do 40-20s in the zone 6 anaerobic zone, where they will be so hard that you will want to puke after each set. If you actually want to target your VO2 max system, zone 5, your reps need to be between 3 and 8 minutes. 3 minutes in the minimum number, and that would be towards the upper end of your VO2 max zone, or 8 minutes, the limit at the longest, and that would be targeting sort of the lower end of your VO2 max zone. If you go below 3-minute reps, you will not get an adaptation. And if you go above 8-minute reps, you're not really training VO2 anymore, you're training FTP. And you're doing well too short of an FTP interval to actually do something. So this brings me back to Zwift and TrainerRoad. Zwift's fatal flaw is that their workouts are designed to not bore the user and to keep you in the program and on your bike. And they have people doing all sorts of different zones at all sorts of weird lengths to add as much variety as they can pack into the workout to keep people's attention. This is good if your goal is to just keep people on your bike. It's bad if your goal is to actually get people faster. Unfortunately, it doesn't really work for the specific training because it's not targeting a zone and hitting it hard. Zwift workouts simply need to be more boring. Less jumping around at different zones at random lengths, and more simple and boring workouts that actually achieve something. For TrainerRoad, the fatal flaw I see is that they often assign intervals that are way too short. TrainerRoad loves to assign 30-30 VO2 max intervals at the bottom end of your VO2 max power band, and they love 3 to 10 minute FTP intervals. Why don't they assign people much more normal 4x4 VO2 max intervals or 3x8 VO2 max intervals? Why don't they, or 8x3 I should say, Why don't they assign people 3x15 FTP intervals or 3x20 sweet spot intervals? So my suspicion with TrainerRoad is that they know that 90% of their audience will make gains simply from a higher TSS. If you were a semi-serious cyclist and you were riding 400 TSS a week, and you start a TrainerRoad program that ramps you up to doing 700 TSS a week, you will see gains. You will be faster, and you will think it's because their intervals are amazing. But it's not the intervals that are benefiting you. It's the volume that you're benefiting from. So what TrainerRoad is doing is they give people these intervals that are easy to finish, but have a high TSS, knowing that the TSS will carry the results. However, if you're an experienced cyclist who already rides a lot of TSS and you're looking for that last 10% of race polish that's going to get you super fast for racing season, those intervals will not get you there at all. Now, I don't really want to pick on just Zwift and TrainerRoad. I see tons of people paying for high-priced coaches who assign them intervals that have these same exact pitfalls. And in that regard, my conclusion is that they make the intervals really complicated with all kinds of weird zones and durations. And I think they do it because it makes the coach seem smarter, that he has figured out this really complicated system for achieving results. Because if the coach just said, yeah, your ride today is a 2x20 at 92% FTP, you might start questioning why you're paying him for such basic advice. The problem is that basic ass interval is significantly better than any of the overcomplicated sets and reps that they give you that are going to fail one or both of my two training rules. Anyway, guys, that's enough of a rant for me. Thanks for watching. If you have any comments, please leave them below. I'd like to hear what you have to say, and maybe I will do more videos about training in the future. Thanks again for watching. Catch you later.